The series opens at a secluded castle on the outskirts of Cushion City, where we see 5 people exploring it. One of them asks if the information is wrong, but another man says that Lord Zaz was the one who told him, so it can't be wrong. The first guy says that there's no way he's the only one who's suspicious, as there isn't even a single demonic beast or anything else in here. They tell him that it seems the rumor of his coming had spread, and we learn that his name is Nagi. Nagi laughs, saying if that's the case, then it makes sense. They continue down the corridor until they're in a giant room. He asks what this place is, stating that he didn't know it existed here. One of the other men confirms it's not on the map. There are only 2 paths for them to choose from, an exit and a staircase going up. The guy reading the map says that the exit looks gloomy, and they should just head up instead. Nagi says that the Ian gang was supposed to take care of the upstairs, and that they're going to the exit. He points, telling his men to go ahead. The guy holding the map asks if Nagi is coming with him. Nagi barks at him, saying that he already told him to go and that there's no way he expects him to do it himself. The man with the map agrees, and walks over. Nagi watches, as he enters the hallway, and says that there's nothing in here. Right as he is about to say that it's clear, a giant monster appears behind him. It's like a pit bull in a daycare. And it's not just one dog. There are multiple. They start growling at the group, and then charge straight in. Nagi freezes out of fear, and they can't even run away because the exit collapses, blocking them in. Now panicked, they're completely surrounded. They say there are too many of them, and they have no idea what to do. Nagi hides behind one of the men, asking what he means by what do they do. He pushes him forward, saying that he needs to fight his way out of this and that they can at least use their bodies to buy him some time. They start getting ripped apart one after the other, until finally, it's only Nagi left, and he starts to tremble in fear. He backs up into the wall, dropping his sword, and one of the wolves goes to finish the job before we see its neck get pierced by an arrow, killing it instantly. It falls onto the floor, and a man puts his leg up on the railing, asking Nagi if he wants help. Nagi recognizes him. We learn that his name is Ransom. He tells him that his timing was perfect. Ransom looks at him and sighs, telling him to watch closely as he'll show him the level of a swordmaster. We see an aura enveloping his blade, and one of the wolves charges in first. He sidesteps the attack easily and stabs it straight in the throat before following through, cutting its head off. The other 2 start to charge in. He turns and cuts them both up into meat chunks in an instant, showing Nagi how big of a gap there is between the 2 of them. The squad starts cheering him on. He cleans his blade of the wolf blood and goes to scold Nagi, but instead, Nagi starts giving him outrageous praise, saying that his swordmaster is on a whole new level and he wonders what kind of reward Count Zaz will give him. Nagi says that Count Zaz will give him something, as he knows that he could have surely handled this all himself and didn't have to butt in. Ransom stares at him, really wondering if he's trying to play this off, and says that he's only top class with his mouth and his swordsmanship is straight ass. If he wants to get stronger, he has to train more. Nagi holds back his frustration, saying, of course, and that he'll definitely keep that in mind. We go back to Cushion City, specifically the Ilnian ruins. A man runs over to Ransom, asking why he's so late. He says that he's sorry, but things just happened when they were exploring. The man tells him that Zaz came and left and the situation is not looking good for them. Ransom asks what happened, and the man hands him a note saying that Zaz gave this to him and took the children. Ransom reads it, and his heart instantly sinks, as Zaz is telling him to go kill somebody named Delkashu, and then come back. The guy who gave him the note is surprised that's what's on it. We learn that Delkashu is a powerful vampire possessing true blood and also a sorcerer master who rules over Cashew City. While Cushion City was managed by Count Zaz and Cashew City was managed by Count Delkashu, they had various overlaps with their interests and continued to fight, pretty much always forcing them to be mortal enemies. The people living inside of Cushion City, in order to receive the Count's support, ended up doing all sorts of his dirty work. Ransom just wanted to leave with the children and live in peace. Now his 10 years of loyalty have proven to be worthless. He squeezes the note out of frustration, and the man says that he can't go. Not only is Count Delkashu a sorcerer master, but he's also a true blood vampire. Ransom says without his siblings, he has no reason to live. The man asks if he really thinks he can leave in his current condition since he just got back. Ransom says that Zaz said it himself. He took the children away, so that means he can't waste any more time. The man pleads with him, saying that it's too dangerous, as Delkashu has vampires of expert rank and higher under his command. We finally learn that the man who handed the note in the ruins is Burson. Ransom tells him that this is an order, and Burson instantly closes his mouth and bows his head, saying, "Understood." Ranson tells him that he will stay behind and look after his siblings that are still here, and that he'll be sure to set everything right when he comes back. Person watches him leave and clenches his fist out of anger, saying that this is the one time he doesn't think he can obey his commands. We get a flashback to the Venro kingdom in the year 1337. We see the estate ablaze. The queen says she will hold them off here, and that he needs to take Ranson and get out. Her son, who was the commander of the knights at the time, says he can't do that, and that he will stay here until the very end to protect her. She says that what he must protect now is the bloodline of the Venro kingdom. He tries to argue with her, but realizes that she's right. Ranson's mother tells him that he needs to listen carefully, and that he has to survive no matter what. It is the destiny of a woman of the Venro royal family to pass on the blood of Venro to future generations, and he too must fulfill his duty to the royal family. He starts crying, telling his mother that he doesn't want to run away alone. She takes off her necklace, putting it on him, saying that it will surely help and that he needs to make sure to restore their family. He clutches the necklace and starts to cry. Person's face looks pained, but he resolves himself, saying that he will dedicate his life to serving Ranson. The estate continued to be engulfed in flames. Person says that since he didn't die there, he was forced to flee with the second prince under his majesty's order, and he failed to protect the family. The capital was burning, and he had to leave without being able to protect his king or his queen. Of all days, it was the 13th birthday of the second prince. After he had witnessed the deaths of his parents and siblings with his own eyes, he didn't say a single word as he watched the estate get engulfed in flames. That is how the 500-year history of the kingdom of Venro fell. They arrived at their arranged escape route, avoiding the eyes of all the imperial soldiers, together with the last young heirs of the marquises and counts. In about 20 nights, they would end up crossing the border. A month later, they successfully crossed the border into Roxium. They were currently leaving Glory Land and were forced onto a boat heading towards a place unbefitting of them. A few months later, they arrived in Rubertland, the lawless land where criminals and fugitives from all over the world gather. It's been about 2 months since they arrived in the city of Kushan, and many knights died on the way there. There were only 12 of them left, including him. But it was their mission to protect Ranson, who was the only legitimate heir left and the last successor of the noble family of Venro. Even though they were knights, they would dishonor their name just to protect him. The flashback ends, taking us back to Delkashu's castle. We see soldiers strung out along the hallways. Burson charges straight in, taking care of a lot of the vampires. He has a bad feeling in his gut as he tells Ranson to hold on. He's making his way as deep as he can into the castle. While running down the hallway, he hears some sounds of fighting beyond a door. When he gets there, he opens it only to be horrified by the sight in front of him. It was an absolute massacre, and everybody was dead. Even Delkashu was killed, while sitting on his throne. Burson wonders what happened, and hears coughing. He looks over, seeing a trail of blood, and Ranson bleeding out on some stairs. He notices that his arm is gone, and his leg is severely messed up. Ranson says that it's already over. Burson fears for the worst, asking how the blood of Venro can finish like this, as they vowed to live happily. He hopes that their desperation and hope are not just ending like this. He grits his teeth out of frustration, saying that he can't let this happen. He rips up his cape, walks over to Ranson, and ties up his arm and leg to stop the bleeding, saying that he will save him. It jumps to 3 years later, once more in the neon ruins. We see kids happily playing outside, and Ranson, who now has metal prosthetics, is nailing and hammering into a roof. Burson calls out to him. He looks down and starts to go down the ladder. Of course, since he's using a prosthetic leg as well, he loses his grip and falls onto the floor. Burson asks if he's okay, and he says that he is, just wanting to know what the count said. Burson says, the same as always. He told him to wait 1 more month. Ranson says that's fine since they can get by for now, and he's okay with waiting. Burson says he already told him not to do this kind of thing. Ranson says that's not something he can ask the kids to do, so he has to be the one to do it. Burson tells him the kids are actually old enough though, but Ranson says even if they're grown up, it's still his duty. Burson is annoyed, and before he can finish his next sentence, Ranson says surely he's not going to bring up the elixir again. Burson says that he was. We learn that the elixir is an ancient miracle that cannot be reproduced with modern magic, and there was only one found 200 years ago in the Eon dungeon. Ranson tells him that's just an old story, asking what it has to do with him as he's not really that inconvenienced with his prosthetics. Burson says he understands and he won't say another word, guessing a miracle like that won't happen again. Some of the kids start yelling at him, panicked, as one of the wooden practice swords flies straight at them. Ranson catches it with his prosthetic and says that since he just fixed the roof, he doesn't want to go up there and do it again. He tells the kids to not let go of their swords the next time they're practicing. The kid says that he was gripping it tightly though, and Ranson says that that's not the only thing that matters. He needs to brace his legs, distribute his weight with his entire body, and visualize his opponent in his head. He recalls when he was fighting Delkashu. Delkashu charged straight at him. Ranson managed to block it, but it sent his sword flying back a bit. Due to his leg being injured, he realized that he couldn't distribute his weight properly. Delkashu, knowing he had the advantage, says that he can't be getting distracted in the middle of their fight. The more he has to protect, the more thoughts weigh on him. He goes to finish the job, but Ranson parries the attack, actually putting him on the defensive, saying that because he has something to protect, he cannot die. Delkashu doesn't miss a beat and swings forward, cutting off Ranson's hand. Ranson, of course, is more than okay with sacrificing it if it means that he can get the job done, and that is how he bested Delkashu. Back in the present, he starts to snap out of it. Person is calling out to him, and even the students are worried. He looks down before he realizes that he completely cleaved the practice sword in two. He says he was just trying to show them, but ended up getting lost in thought, and that he'll fix it. Another kid runs over, telling him that there's big trouble with two of the kids named Daisy and Squin. Ranson instantly fears the worst and starts running after them. He says this is ominous, and it's more than just a kid's fight, as he smells blood. He sees them both using real swords and both are injured, and neither of them looks like they really want to be in this fight. We see Nagi, who says that it's been a while. Ranson realizes instantly what happened, asking what he thinks he's doing. Nagi says they're in the middle of an interview. Ranson asks what he means. Nagi says that if they show potential, he's thinking of taking them in as his direct bloodline. Ranson says that he refuses to let them mix their blood with his, since Nagi is filth. Nagi gets pissed, telling him that even becoming the lowest ranked bloodline would be better than being under a wash of cripple who's missing two of his limbs. Ranson asks him if Daz knows of this. Nagi says that Ranson really doesn't understand the situation he's in. There's no way someone so busy would care about every little thing. Ranson says that means Nagi came here on his own, even though he knows it's his family's territory. Nagi says, of course I came here, as there's a rumor that the great sword master lost his limbs, and it's all because of some brats. Ranson starts to get annoyed as Nagi continues taunting him, saying that he doesn't even think Ranson can protect them with his body. Ranson says that he needs to leave the children alone, or else he'll kill him. Nagi continues, saying that he doesn't even have the power to anymore. Ranson leaps straight at him with his blade. Two of the men step up, blocking the attack. Ranson says that they're only in the low-level expert rank, which means they are no match for him, and that they're underestimating a sword master. Ranson starts pushing their blades down before tightening the grip on his own and releasing an aura that sends the two of them flying backward, landing on the floor directly beside Nagi. Nagi says that he's still the same as ever, and he's amazing. Ranson says that the rookies these days have no sense of fear. Nagi laughs, telling him not to be so harsh, as their opponent is a monster after all. Ranson says he can't believe Nagi is still this insecure, which causes him to laugh, asking if Ranson really thinks that's how he feels around him. Daisy and Squin look worried as Nagi draws his blade out, releasing a menacing red aura. Ranson thinks that, in his current condition, there's no way out and he'll have to finish this up with a single blow. He charges straight in, leaping up above Nagi. Nagi raises his blade to block it, and Ranson smirks, thinking that he's got him. As he changes the angle he's attacking from, he follows all the way through and realizes that something's amiss because as soon as he comes into contact with Nagi's side, his blade shatters. Nagi laughs, asking what happened to him, as his core is completely ruined. Ranson is confused at how he improved so much. Nagi asks if he really thought he wouldn't reach the top ranks. That's why he kept saying that bloodline is superior. He wonders what he should do with him. He'll either kill them one by one or try to find some kind of use for them. Ranson says that if this is a fight, he'll lose anyway. So, he lowers his blade and says that he might as well just protect the kids. He asks Nagi if he can just end it here since there are children present. Nagi is caught off guard and starts laughing at him, asking if the swordmaster is really begging him right now. Ranson drops to his knees, saying that he won't deny it and that Nagi knows him well. What he wants is to trample him and watch him fall. Nagi says that means he can't let him off so easily, and readies his blade, saying that he was just getting started. He hits Ranson straight in the face, then grabs him by the throat, continuing until he falls onto the floor. He runs over, kicking him, and puts his foot on his head. As Ranson looks up at him, he says that he's sorry. Nagi freezes up, then smiles, telling him to stop being so soft on him. He says that he'll stop here today, but he'll continue tomorrow. The kids ask what they're meant to do since he lost. Ranson says that he protected them, and that's more than enough for him. That night, he asks Daisy and Glenn why they did that, and if they were really trying to become bloodline kin with somebody like Nagy. Glenn apologizes, but Daisy just looks pissed. Ranson asks Daisy if she has anything to say. She says that it's frustrating. Ranson asks what she means, and she asks if she's really not allowed to serve under Zaz since even Ranson was once his retainer. Ranson asks if she's forgotten that because of Zaz's greed to become a vampire, their comrades and family members have died, and he ended up a cripple. And yet now she wants to go crawl under him, and end up being a vampire just like him. She slams the table, asking why it matters to him, saying that he's not even her dad and that she'll do what she wants with her own life. She tells him to quit sticking his nose into her business, and live his own instead. She runs off while crying, slamming the door behind her, leaving Ranson and Glenn sitting there awkwardly. Glenn tells him that she didn't mean it from the heart, and he knows that sometimes kneeling down in that situation takes a lot of courage, and that Ranson must be in a lot of pain, so he'll go ask Uncle Burson for a potion. Ranson thanks him. Uncle Burson charges into the room asking if he's okay, saying that he heard from one of the kids who ran into Daisy about the fight that happened today, and he quickly ran over. Ranson starts laughing at this and seems relieved, thanking them for the worry. Burson hands him a potion, and Ranson says that he knew Daisy was not a bad kid. He finishes chugging the potion and starts to cough. When he looks down at his prosthetic hand, it's covered in blood. He says that if only his core was intact, he could have definitely handled Nagy today. Seeing the children happy is more than enough for him. He wonders how many days in a row he'll have to deal with this Nagy situation. He grabs onto his pendant, saying that he has no choice but to use this. It starts to create some kind of magic circle, and it begins floating in the air. He says that he wants to sell the treasure of the Vanro royal family to raise funds to protect the children. Something like the royal seal could be tracked by the Empire, so the only thing worth selling is the Book of Fate. As he pulls it out of storage, he says he doesn't understand why this is considered a royal treasure. As he opens it, the text begins to fly up from the book. What looks like an enchantment table flies straight to his head. He wonders why he can read this ancient language as it mentions the year 4673, and it starts to shine very brightly. We see a clock appear, and he hears the sound of water dripping within the room that he was just standing in. We see his chair flip backward, and when he opens his eyes, he's running somewhere and he wonders what's going on. He says that this is not a delusion, it's definitely real. This place he is at looks familiar, and it's clearly the Neon dungeon, but it looks so new. He wonders what's going on and who these people are with him. One of them turns, saying that an intruder has entered the chapel, and they need to secure the elixir first. Ranson is still confused and says that the structure of this is identical to the Neon dungeon, but the interior looks brand new. The elixir is said to have been excavated from the dungeon in ancient times, and he does recall how it said the year 4673. He wonders if that means that right now he's traveled 10,000 years into the past. He continues walking forward, and what he sees on the table in front of him is the elixir. He says that it's actually real and that this means he's truly come to the past. A man grabs it, saying, "Fortunately, the elixir is safe." Ranson thinks that if he gets his hands on this, he can reclaim everything that he's lost. There are a total of 12 people around him, and he really debates if he should just kill them right now and snatch the elixir. The man says that before they take the offering, they need to pair up and search for the intruder, and he starts giving out orders. He even says Ranson's name, and Ranson is surprised they know his name as well. He wonders if these people from the past recognize him as an ally, and says that only powerful magic that interferes with the mind could reproduce a result like this. He wonders what exactly the Book of Fate is. The man who was sent with him is named Sir, and he asks Ranson why he's standing around blankly, saying that they need to hurry. Ranson thinks that for now, he should just gather information and look for an opening as he follows Sir deeper into the corridor until finally, they run into a woman. She sighs, and Ranson flinches as she instantly swings, cutting down Sir before Ranson can react. We see a purple aura coming off of her blade, and Ranson asks what that transparent haze is. She leaps forward, and he manages to block it just barely in time with his own aura. He pushes her backward and says that the durability is terrible, but his sword is still holding off. He looks down, and they have a stare down. He looks at his blade, saying that it's already chipped and that her power sure is strange. He's a little nervous. She asks if that was because of her sword aura, but says that something is strange here. Ranson says that means he's not the only one who finds it weird, and that he should check it one more time. He coats his blade in aura, but instantly it fades as what he sees are two children tarried, staring at him. He asks why children are here. She accuses him of having no shame, a swordsman like him siding with cultists who kidnap children, asking if he's really planning to kidnap them and use them as sacrifices. He recalls all his happy moments with his own family and how much he loves them, and he realizes what is happening. One of the men runs over, asking what happened, and if Sir was really taken down by the intruder. Ranson doesn't say anything. When the man says that they need to join forces, Ranson cleaves both of their heads off in an instant. The woman asks what he's doing, and Ranson says that they should be on the same side, but she's still just backing away in shock. Sometime later, we hear the sound of swords clashing and more men start to approach them. They spot Ranson fighting the woman and ask if he got ambushed because they see the corpses of their comrades around them. They say they have to hurry up and help Ranson. As he's still fending off her attacks, he glances behind. As soon as they get in range, he leaps, cutting one of their heads off. The other guy watches, realizing that they have been betrayed, but Ranson stabs him in the stomach, killing him as well. He pulls his blade out, and as the man falls to the floor, he starts panting and says that thanks to her little act, killing them was easy. She is still just confused, wondering what act he is talking about because he came at her so recklessly that she had to fight back for her life. He says that she just needs to keep helping like she is now, and he can't get a good read on the one in charge. As the man walks over asking if he betrayed them, he says it's not bad at all. The resentful spirit of one who died a bitter death of betrayal, plus the chaotic nature and the soul of a noble knight, the Lord will be even more pleased. The woman says that she should have called for backup and she didn't think that an advanced expert would show up here. Realizing that she can't just run away because of the children behind her, she says that she's still an intermediate expert and she can't take him on alone. She'll attack him first so Ranson can aim for an opening. She charges forward and swings at him, but he instantly sends her blade up into the air. He comes in with his knee, hitting her on the shoulder and sending her flying back into the wall. Since there's a bunch of dust being shaken up, the woman uses that as a chance to leap at him with a surprise attack. Of course, since he's an advanced expert, he easily sidesteps it and laughs while raising his blade overhead and goes to swing down, but Ranson begins to release his aura and walks forward, closing the gap in an instant using an ability called Tempest. He swings, cutting the man's neck, but a necklace blocks the attack. It starts to shine brightly, and blinds Ranson to the point where the man has the advantage, and sends him flying backward. He says that without this, he definitely would have died. He continuously attacks Ranson, putting him on the complete defensive. As they're making their way backward down the hallway, Ranson wonders if it was an artifact, saying even so, to block the attack so easily. This is dangerous. He can't predict his sword path and asks how the woman was holding on this long. On cue, she leaps from behind, going for a surprise attack on the man, but he turns, blocking it. Then she asks Ranson what he's doing, saying that his sword aura is colored, but he's so weak. Of course the weakness is because of his prosthetic since he can't put his full strength into it. The man laughs, saying that surely she can tell that regardless of how colored his sword aura is, Ranson is clearly just a half-baked swordsman who can't even rid the heart of the sword. He swings, cutting her across her stomach, and she falls backward onto the floor. He then turns towards Ranson to finish the job and tells him farewell. Ranson asks if he really just called him a half-baked swordsman after all the hell he went through under his ass and even became a swordmaster. He's been doing nothing but getting humiliated recently. He begins bleeding from his mouth as he's using his core when he shouldn't use an ability called Aura Thread. It's a much darker aura than before, and he swings, this time putting the man on the defensive. The guy asks what in the world just happened, as this attack is on a completely different level than the one before. They continue, and the guy has no chance to counterattack. He asks how someone who can't even rid the heart of the sword is able to show this kind of power. Ranson charges in, swinging once more, and the guy blocks it with his blade, but it doesn't matter as not only does his blade get cut in half, his head gets cut off, and his body and head fall onto the floor. Ranson's sword breaks as well, and he falls to his knees, vomiting blood. The woman, confused, asks just who in the world he is. Ranson starts rummaging through the guy's corpse and says that he needs to find it quickly. He pulls out a box and finds the elixir, saying that he really got his hands on it. He says that if he can just drink this, it'll all be okay. As he starts to drink it, he feels himself being pulled back. The clock ticks once more. As we hear water dripping, we're back to the present. Daisy wonders where Ranson went at this time of night, and that she needs to apologize, even if it's late. She says that he wasn't here earlier, and she wonders if he's back by now. When she enters the door, she instantly looks horrified as she sees him laying on the floor and she assumes the worst. but we see he actually still has the elixir box in his hand. They quickly put him in a bed, and we see Berson and Daisy looking over him. Daisy says that she'll stay by his side. Berson says that she should call him as soon as he wakes up. She says, of course. She looks over at him in the bed, saying that he was stronger than any one of them. But because of them, he was humiliated. And at times like this, she feels so ashamed that she wants to die. She sees him flinching in his sleep. Then he yells, waking up, saying that he only drank half of it. He's panting, and then he sits up in bed, wondering if it was all just a dream to begin with. She asks him what happened, and if he's okay, calling him brother. She says that he disappeared suddenly, and came back covered in blood. He stares at her blankly, and she's confused, asking why he's looking at her like that. He says that she just called him brother, and she asks what he's talking about, saying she never did that. He then asks if she cried since her eyes are red, and her cheeks are swollen, and he says that she really was worried about him after all. She says that of course she was, asking if she shouldn't have been. He thanks her and says that it's been a while since he's talked to her like this. His head then starts to swirl, and he clutches onto his chest. She stands up asking if he's in pain, but he says that he's not and that it wasn't a dream at all, it was real, and he thought one sip of this wouldn't be enough. As he begins to emit a bright yellow light, he then quickly throws his prosthetics onto the floor as we see that his leg and arm have both been regrown from the elixir. She's just speechless by what happened. As soon as he says that he has returned, his vision starts to fade out and he falls onto the floor, watching her run over. He then overhears them talking about how his arms and legs are back. As he slowly wakes up, he sees everybody in the room staring down at him. Berson is crying tears of joy, asking how such a miracle happened to them. Ranson says that he drank an elixir. Berson says that one sip cost 50,000, yet he still drank it. He says before they finish this, there's something he wants to check. He gets out of bed, and Berson asks if it's okay for him to move like this. He says yes, and it seems like rehabilitation might be needed, but it's okay. He grabs onto the box that he brought from his little trip, and asks Berson if he can come with him for a moment. They head outside into the dungeon, and he says that this is where the elixir was placed. Berson asks what they're doing here, and Ranson says that he can't believe this situation either, so he wants to check it out. He pulls out a key from the box, saying that the security was tight, especially towards the back. It means that this is the key to opening a secret place. He walks over and plugs it into the air, and a magic circle appears. It then turns into a bright golden one, and Berson asks what the hell he just did. As soon as they enter, there's a treasure trove full of gold, weapons, and armor. They say that just the gold coins alone have to be worth 5,000 gallons. There's also ancient artifacts, swords, and tools. Berson says that first his limbs were regenerated, and now this. Ranson says he can't believe it either, and that he ended up traveling to this place 10,000 years in the past. Berson asks if he hit his head, and Ranson is still in disbelief that it was real. He says that if the power of this artifact isn't a one-time use, maybe he can return to the past again and again and achieve anything that he wants. He tells Berson to get ready, as there's something that he has to go do first. It jumps to Nagy laughing in a room, saying that this is what it means to be alive as there are corpses littered around on his floor. He says that he wonders what kind of fun will await him today. He puts on his armor, saying that it's time to go see what Ranson is up to. But when he opens his door, Ranson is standing in front of him. He asks if he came all this way to greet him. Then he sees that his arm and leg are regrown and tells his men to quickly go inform Zez that Ranson has recovered his core, and they have to split up and go as fast as possible. Ranson unsheaths his blade and charges straight in, launching an aura attack straight at Nagy. But it splits into two around him, hitting both of the men in the back, killing them instantly. They fall onto the floor, and Nagy starts to have cold sweats, asking how this happened, and he realizes that he's screwed.